everyone, welcome back to a chill session video. Today we're going to be doing here obviously a chill session in which we will actually be working on our Sacred Beast deck. Now this is definitely going to be quite interesting to see what we could actually do to improve it. Of course I've already done this for World Chalice and that turned out to be quite a success because I was able to make the deck do things that were definitely just going to its maximum limit and in such an efficient manner as well. I just couldn't be any more happier with my World Chalice deck. However, with that being said, there is now the Sacred Beast deck to actually work with. Now the deck profile that I've done on this particular channel focusing on Sacred Beast is only the budget variant, where I've actually taken the 3 structure decks and combined them into the one. Now while that particular deck is actually pretty decent for what it is still definitely limiting in terms of what it actually could potentially do, because of the fact that it was just restricted to the cards within the structure deck. However, with these particular chill sessions, I am hoping to actually find out different ways to explore the possibilities with the Sacred Beast deck. Of course, this is just the very beginning of me actually going beyond just the structure decks alone, so I might not be going as eccentric as you might be expecting, but even so we should be able to come up with something that allows this deck to be a bit more playable within the format, or at least be a more competitive style deck. So with that being said, I wanted to actually go over how this particular deck went about. So when this deck first came out a long time ago, it was just really under-supported and you could barely go into anything. I mean, yes, you had Armitar, you had the 3 Sacred Beasts, but no one was really actually going about building the deck itself. It was definitely quite limited, you had no support cards whatsoever to facilitate its plays, and everything that could be done for the deck was just within the anime and also within our dreams. However, later on we did actually get some new cards. Of course, this came a long time later on, where we got the card such as Dark Summoning Beast as well as Fallen Paradise. Now these 2 particular cards were definitely a great addition to the deck. They were both really amazing. I would still say that Fallen Paradise would be quite a key card in the deck right now, and Dark Summoning Beast, I must admit, this card is definitely a very impressive card even till now. Now this is obviously the 2 backbone cards that allowed the deck to be played at all at the time where it got these 2 cards as new support. However, with that being said, it didn't propel it enough to the point where a lot of people were drawn into it. It was still one of those casual, really gimmicky kind of decks that someone would actually be willing to build it out of the most fun necessities out there, but to even consider it as a competitive deck was completely out of the question. Firstly, you had the restriction with Dark Summoning Beast, being that you just couldn't attack, and that was definitely quite the restriction indeed. However, with Fallen Paradise, while it was a good card, it didn't necessarily make the deck any easier to play. So with that being said, the deck just never took off. And around the time when these 2 particular cards actually did come out, that was when I actually decided to play Sacred Beast for the very first time. So unlike a lot of different decks out there that have recently come out, normally those particular decks I don't even bother playing them or testing them. I just take an interest in them and I just leave it at that. However, with Sacred Beast, when these 2 particular cards came out, although I didn't have a physical deck to actually play, I did test it out profusely online and it was definitely a really fun experience. It was incredibly, how should I say, it was different. And this was something that I just continually kept trying to build later on. It was just a deck that I played purely for fun. It lost a lot of the time, but even so, it was something that I felt was unique in its own way, and it just needed that minor push that allowed it to actually go into another level. So with that being said, we now move on all the way to the structure deck, where we do actually have all the new support. So instead of the Fallen Paradise, and instead of the Dark Summoning Beast, we now have new additions such as, firstly, we have over here the new YuGiOh card, Lord of Phantasm's Shimmering Scraper, but of course we also get a few other cards as well. For example, one of them being a really key card for the deck. We have Dark Summoning Beast, we have over here Chaos Summoning Beast, we also have Chaos Core, though not as played, and then of course we have the opening of the Spirit Gates, Cerulean Skyfire, and we also have, where is it, the 2 trap cards. So we have here Awakening of the Sacred Beasts, and we also have our Hyperblaze. Now these particular new cards were all designed with the intention to make Sacred Beasts somewhat playable, or in this particular case, competitive in this particular format. Now, did it actually accomplish its purpose? Well, when we look at it like this, I'm not too sure, because I want to actually try and incorporate different kinds of builds and then do a bit of testing just to see how this deck could actually perform. So with YuGiOh, it is definitely a very nice card here, but I think the 2 main cards that are really good would be the Dark Beckoning Beast as well as the Opening of the Spirit Gates. These 2 particular cards have done great wonders for the deck. Of course, I'm not going to go over each of these cards since we've already done that in previous videos and also in Reapercast videos where we talked about these cards before. So yeah, these are just really amazing cards to go with, and I've taken the liberty of actually looking through different deck profiles in other channels and everything like so, and trying to get a grasp of how this deck could actually work in a more competitive scale. And by looking at that, I see that the new deck now obviously doesn't utilize Dark Summoning Beast as much anymore because it has a restriction. However, I still surprisingly see people playing 3 copies of the Dark Summoning Beast, which is quite insane considering it still has the restriction. However, you have to consider that if you actually are able to pull it off in the very first turn, it is quite a worthwhile card to actually pull off. So with that being said, you might just want to play 3 for the consistency, and even then you could always just use it in main phase 2 in the following turns, which is totally okay. But with these newer cards being the main focus, it is definitely very interesting. Cards like Dark Beckoning Beast, Opening of the Spirit Gates, and even Awakening of the Sacred Beast, these particular 3 cards I'd say are staples in the deck, so much to the point where I actually consider playing 3 copies of them. So that would be quite fantastic indeed. But of course, Chaos Summoning Beast and all of these cards here would also be quite amazing. The only card I wouldn't necessarily think about playing would be the Chaos Core. It didn't really turn out to be something I liked in the budget build, though the budget build was a bit more restricting. As a result, I was able to fit this in because we didn't really have any other better choices. Hyperblaze and YuGiOh, I will keep them at 1 copy because they don't really do too much in the deck. However, with the Chaos Summoning Beast and the Cerulean Skyfire, 2 copies does look kind of neat for the deck itself. Now, I actually did consider a lot of other tech cards that I could actually put into the deck itself, and I've considered cards such as a rank 10 engine, where I might even add in copies of Exodius into the deck, and that might actually help accelerate this particular deck and what it can do. I've also seen Skill Drain being put into this deck. I hopefully might have one, but if I don't, I'll just put a proxy in or something like that. But Skill Drain does look like a really good card to add into this deck. You're hurting your opponents a lot more than yourself, so it's definitely really amazing there. And of course, we can't forget about the fact that we did actually get the new card that came in the new set, or not the newest set, but it was in Phantom Rage, and that was definitely a very wonderful card. Of course, it is the new fusion monster, and because of that, I'm definitely quite pleased with where this particular deck is actually going now. However, with that being said, I do actually recommend that you guys give me some suggestions. If you have any ideas on what to actually try out, definitely let me know, in the comment section. That would definitely help. Now, I've taken a look at my old budget deck here, and I've considered different things. For example, I don't think I'll be playing 2 copies of Uriah anymore. I might drop it down. I've also considered increasing Dark Summoning Beast, though it does look like I already have 2 right now, so I might actually bump it up to 3 and test out how it goes. I'll probably take out the Chaos Core and even the Radiant, just because this is a budget variance, so by looking at cards that are outside and beyond just the structure deck, we'll have so much more options available, such as a Law of Darkness, or perhaps a Pot of Desires, which would be fantastic. We have the Fusion card over here. We have Swords of Concealing Light. We don't really need that. We have Mound of the Bound Creator. Again, not a card that's necessary. Terraforming, Field Barrier, 1/1. Just a lot of interesting cards here. And one notable thing is that with the Escape from the Dark Dimension, while this is a pretty decent card for what it is still a trap card, meaning it is going to be a very slow card. Now, because we are actually playing the Fallen Paradise in the deck itself, we're going to be able to draw 2 cards, meaning we're not really going to have an empty hand. So a better option to play instead of the Escape Room would be Different Dimension Reincarnation, otherwise known as DDR. So hopefully I can actually find that card, and I'll replace the Escape from the Dark Dimensions with the Different Dimension Reincarnation. That would be a fantastic card. Its cost simply allows you to discard a card and then special summon something from your banished zone, being that your Sacred Beast would be sent off to the grave or banished off via a Law of Darkness or your Fusion spell card, which would be fantastic, of course, and that would be much faster than a card like Escape from the Dark Dimension. But with that being said, I really would like to hear all your ideas, different choices, different techs, different spicy options that could really just propel this deck to another level. So if you want to see something that is kind of close to what you would like to play, then feel free to leave the suggestions down. I am definitely open to all of them, and I'm willing to try everything I could possibly do with this. So with that being said, I'm gonna try and do a beta test for the next chill session video, and I'll see how this deck particularly goes and works out. But with that being said, definitely drop a like if you enjoyed this, share this video, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.